What's going on today, guys? Primal Sabbath here, and today we're going to be taking a look at, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first review of 2020. It's been a minute, took a little bit of a hiatus, but I plan on getting back with some more Beast Wars. Going to do some Beast Wars Neo, and then I plan on tackling some Universe, and then after that, it's pretty much just going to be whatever comes new from there, because I think I'll pretty much be done. I got a couple BotCon sets left to review as well, but I don't know. It is what it is. But right now, we're going to take a look at the Generation Selects Star Convoy. This was technically a Takara Tomy Generation Selects, but since the Legends line is quote-unquote dead, it came out through like a weird shared exclusive Selects thing with Hasbro Pulse. You could have picked it up there. I missed the pre-order period. What the way Pulse does things is really strange. So I grabbed mine from agabus.com. And big shout out to them. They actually had it, I think, way before even the Pulse stuff came in. I just totally ended up missing it. So this is a retool of the Power of the Primes Leader Class Optimus Prime, which I did not get and I was not interested in. But I'm glad I get to experience the mold because this is a pretty cool toy. Before we get into stuff, I guess, let's get a real quick comparison here. Since he's a Japanese boy, let's get another Japanese boy in here. And there he is with the, which you can kind of barely see. Let's back this up a little bit. The LGEX Big Powered. So I think they were both part of the Battle Stars line. So I think that's pretty neat, getting them together like that. There were like a couple of others. Like I think there was like Sky Garry and Grandus, and then like a bunch of Micromasters and things like that. I'm sure some of those Micromasters have come out in Siege. I just don't keep up with Micromasters. I've seen some people use the Combiner Wars Legends Hot Rod with this guy, and that looks pretty good. So all things considered, I do think that's neat. You can store the gun up here. There's two little pegs on the inside of this trailer, right in here. And there's two holes on the blaster that allow you to get your up and down movement there. And of course, that's where that plugs in. It's underside of the trailer. And it did come with these stickers. Now, I put them on pretty terribly, as you can see. Didn't even get the air bubble out of that one. But they're so thin and so flimsy that it was not a fun experience. Like, it was just, you couldn't really, like, they weren't thick stickers that you could kind of line up and slide into place. They were very, very flimsy. So hopefully Repro Labels will maybe do just a Repro set. I'm sure they'll throw in some other things too. They kind of do that. But I would just like straight up repros of these just made of that thicker material. So anyways, that's the trailer. Let's set it off to the side. Take a look at the little cab robot. You can see there's a matrix in there. I think that's a newly molded piece. I don't think that was used with anything prior. Obviously, getting it in and out should be a piece of cake. There you go. And there's a little kind of line in there you can see. And there's a corresponding tab on the inside of that truck that you can barely see. And you would just, in practice, line that up. Getting it in is pretty difficult. But you would line it up and stick it in there. But I'm going to set that off to the side because we'll use it later in robot mode or combined mode. So there's that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this guy into robot mode, and we'll continue on from there. All right, so here we have Convoy transformed, and it's not, I don't think necessarily supposed to be, but it does a really good job of kind of being like a Genrai. Since the LGEX Genrai didn't come with a transformable cab, since it was just a Ultra Magnus remold, I think this does a really good job of kind of evoking that up to like even down to the like windshield on the back here. I mean, obviously there's no place to plug a Prime Master or one of those little Headmasters or whatever that you could kind of do to it. But I think this is just a really cool way of kind of sort of getting a little Genrai. I think that's neat, and it's apparently extremely an extreme remolding of the Orion packs, which is fitting, I think. And I think the chest is new, the head's definitely new. I even think these skirt pieces are new, possibly, perhaps, probably. I don't know. But he looks pretty cool. Before we get into weapons, I don't think there was actually an official based mode, but Star Convoy came from that era of Transformers where anybody who was everybody had a base mode, and while this nothing really like pegs in here, nothing really locks in securely. Kinda. There we go. I had it sort of halfway decent earlier. This is about as good as I can get as far as a base mode goes. Coincidentally, like the Matrix will plug into the little trailer hitch piece right there, and you just kind of like fold him up, get some little makeshift ramps. I'm sure you could do the thing where you like spread the legs out and give him that kind of H-shaped base that like Overlord and I think even Diatlas and some of those other characters sort of have. But this I thought was kind of sort of evocative enough of the original. I mean, it's not quite, because the original had all that other stuff, the powered master and the roller and all that. But anyways, you can mess with it, kind of get it to however you like it. And if you want to, you can split the blaster in two, and he can get 2 blasters. So there's that. And there's this kind of like, I guess, stubby little ion blaster thing. And obviously, when it's combined, they form like the big ion blaster thing. So let's come on now. I don't know why this is being a tight fit. Maybe that one's not supposed to go in. Maybe it's just supposed to be this small one here. Or, yeah. I don't want to force it. It's a $100 figure. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, the little robot's cool, especially, if only to even just kind of have him as like, Optimus Prime's, I guess, not quite final form, or just as a Genrai to kind of display with your God Genrai. So, anyways, I'm gonna get this the rest of the way transformed, and I'm gonna get him transformed into the core mode, I guess is what you would call it, and then we'll get back. We'll wrap this up with some final thoughts and one last comparison. Alright, so here's Star Convoy all transformed, combined up into a super robot form, and it's not without its problems. Before I get on to that, ultimately, I'm happy with the way it looks. I think it's a great update interpretation of the character. I feel like all the remolding that was done to it was necessary, and it was all, like, everything in my opinion here is pretty good. I don't think, like, I know this is kind of a deal with Earthrise. I don't think he's supposed to have gray hands, fists here, but, I'm really not sure, all things considered. And, it's like Takara doesn't really skimp out on paint for these releases, so I don't see, like that being an issue either. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are supposed to be gray, because it looks like they're molded in this red, so they were painted one way or the other. And I could just be mistaken, because I don't have the original. I have no plans on getting the original. That's the brickiest of brick boys. So there's that. A lot of people had some problems with the star piece here, kind of coming undone and falling down on them. I haven't had that issue. Some people have said to like flip this piece around, and if you do that, that's all well and good. That's on you. I didn't do it. I didn't have to do it. It doesn't, like, once it's in here, it doesn't give me any problems. But, once I kind of pull it down, then there it goes. It's really weird to kind of explain in person how it's supposed to be. So you want to, like, make sure this is as flush as possible, but, like, you also, like, you don't want this, because it's kind of, it's weird. It's kind of like it's almost, spring loaded, but it's not. It's kind of, it feels spring loaded, but it's not. It's almost like a really weird ratchet. But once you kind of have to play with this, you'd have to, like, I don't know if you saw what I did there, but I kind of pulled that apart just a little bit as I was pushing it in, and it allowed it to set in how it needed to set in. And then the tops of the star kind of rest against these bottom, I guess, floodlight pieces right there. And now, like let's go ahead and get into the biggest issue I have with this toy is the ankles are trash. Let's get this in. Let's kind of scooch him back a little bit. I don't know what the deal is, but these ankles are not the best. I mean, he'll hold a pose, he'll whatever you need him to do, but as you kind of move him around, it'll kind of do that. Like, there needs to be a means of either locking them in, or they should have been ratcheted, and, like, I don't think there's a single ratchet joint on this guy. It's all just tight hinges, and maybe I don't know if that's a... Yeah, see, that's pinned in there. That's... Ugh. That is not fun. I mean, I guess I could give him the old flat feet, and that would help that, but it looks stupid. So, you know, but like I said, you know, he's got the ankle rockers and he's got enough of the articulation here that once you kind of get him in a half decent pose, he'll stay there. But like as you mess with him, as you manipulate with him, he just wants to kind of fall backwards. And like there we go. There really isn't too much of a sweet spot there for him to get a dynamic pose in, unfortunately. Also, I've been told that this star piece is molded from the translucent plastic here, so be wary on that. The new head sculpt looks great. The gold and silver chrome, that's fantastic. I love the way that looks, so no real complaints there. He does have weapon storage, as you can kind of see. I got this to fit in. Like, for whatever reason, it only wants to plug into like the back side of this hand. I don't know why. I think these hands are supposed to be folded down. Like, none of this stuff locks in either, which is, you know, like, that's kind of crummy. Like, I mean, there's the two slots right there for these two pieces, and it's not like these legs stay together by any means, so you got to kind of line that up, push that in, line that up. After you've pushed the other one in, maybe you get it, maybe you don't. So there, kinda, I guess. Anyways, if you wanted to, you would bring that star piece down, and then you could kinda open all that up. And if you have small enough fingers, you could put the matrix in there. I don't have the small enough fingers, so I'm not going to be putting the matrix in or pulling it out. The release mechanism works. Like you see, he's locked in. Pull down on that. He slides right out. So that's all well and good. Whenever I put him in, I always like to give him an extra little squeeze just to make sure he's in there all the way. Even kind of pull these pieces out, because I think that's kind of what attributes to this star piece falling out. But we'll kind of separate that again. There we go. And it's locked in. It's fine. So if you just kind of like pull back on either of these sides when you're pushing it in, maybe even both, and then get it in, just kind of let go of these side pieces before you let go of the star piece, it'll stay in. It won't pop out. It's a little confusing, but, you know, I believe in you. You got it. You saw the rifle combine in truck mode earlier. So to get it in its, I think they called it the Silver Matrix rifle configuration. How original. You do that. It's called the Silver Matrix. It's not a tight connection, which sucks. But like the ankles on this figure, once you get him to hold it, doing whatever he needs to be doing with it, it's fine, more or less. So, let's get him moved back here. So there's that. Obviously, he's got a robot hanging off of his back, so he's going to be a little bit back heavy, but again, you can really do whatever you need to do with him, and you can orientate these little guns however you wish. That's also on you. So whatever you want to do with that, you can do with that. It looks great on a shelf, just kind of standing there, and of course he can get the heroic crotch thrust, knees abnormally bent the wrong way pose if you want. That's not a pose I go for. I just kind of like a relaxed A stance. That's what I shoot for. So that's what we're going to shoot for here. Now, the one and only size comparison that I feel is even remotely relevant. Where'd he go? Here he is with Diatlas. As you can see, he's a little bit taller than Diatlas, at least how I think you're supposed to configure him. And oh yeah, these are the Shockwaves Lab add-ons. I recommend those. I don't know if I don't even know if they needed to be reviewed. I know if you get him in the Overlord tippy toe pose, he stands a little bit taller than Star Convoy. So again, you have options if you want them to be roughly the same height, or if you want Diatlas to be a little bit bigger. However you see your Diatlas with your Star Convoy. Totally up to you. I prefer just the kind of standard foot transformation. So let's get them ankle rockers working, right? So there's that. Ultimately, do I think it's worth it? Yeah, no. I like the Japanese G1 stuff. I think it's really cool. I hope we get more updates to those kind of like stupid rare toys and characters and things we really don't know a whole lot about. I hope we get some more web comics that have to do with them. I think all that stuff's really cool. I think they teased a Super Megatron and possibly also an Ultra Megatron. I'd love to see that. I would love to see the Decepticon demon generals that Diatlas had to fight in the Zone OVA. I think that would be cool. Anything that came out of, like the Victory Zone Battle Stars era, I think would be really, really great to see, and I would really, really dig it. So if you like that kind of stuff, cool, go for it. I like the way this looks. I like this way better than the Power of the Prime's leader version. Again, it's just crazy Japanese feeling super robots. So kind of make up your mind there. As far as like a toy, with like the ankles are a huge detriment, but and then like the rifle not the Matrix Silver rifle thing not being all the way totally cool and combined, that kind of sort of sucks. But and then like the flimsy stickers, like that's another negative. But other than that, like it's a fun figure. It's posable, has great articulation, so I don't think there's an issue there, and it's going to look good with the rest of the Japanese G1 stuff that I think they're going to keep coming out with. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment box. I'll do what I can to answer them. And if you like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.